How are we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Big D podcast on the Spunky Spectrum Sports Network. I am back from my weekly contribution, a Sunday contribution. It is a special Sunday indeed. We have conference championship weekend. I can't wait to get all into it. But first, make sure if you are new to the channel or new to the show, make sure you give us a subscription. Dylan would very much so appreciate it. Make sure you're always getting back on YouTube and hearing all of his most recent content. He's putting stuff out on the daily. Any sport you can think of, Dylan's covering it. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like the video. You can also stream through Apple Music or Spotify, and make sure you follow the show along there and any streaming or music platform. Before we get too deep in, I have to bring on the host himself, the Big D, Mr. Dylan. How are you, sir?
Oh man, Alex, I'm great. Ran a 5K, replayed the Everblades last night. I'm ready for a championship Sunday.
Yeah, we getting off the ice and onto the gridiron, huh?
Yep.
All right. Well, unless not counting the flag football festivities of next week, we've got 3 more games of our NFL season. It is heartbreaking, but this is where it gets exciting. This is the time. So let's get into it. First game on the slate for today, the San Francisco 49ers are traveling to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, a lot of storylines here. Very, very overpowered offense versus probably the best defense in the NFL with not too shabby of an offense themselves. What are you looking for from this game, Dylan?
Well, I do have a couple questions about this NFC Championship game. One, can Brock Purdy get over the rookie quarterback jinx on conference championship weekend? Because you probably know that because there have been 4 rookie quarterbacks who start on Championship Sunday, and guess how many of them have won?
I'm gonna say not too many.
That would be 0.
Yeah.
None of them.
The big difference is here, Dylan, how many of those rookie quarterbacks have had a defense as strong as the San Francisco 49ers defense? I mean, it's just
Or Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. And I'm not too shabby of a head coach up there either. So it's definitely gonna be, I mean, it's what you're looking for conference championship weekend. I mean, 2 teams that throughout the season, I mean, San Francisco is starting off, had some quarterback problems. Then they bring in McCaffrey. Then all of a sudden, Brock Purdy takes the reins, and all of a sudden, this team is as good as we expected them to be, if not better. I mean, I know going into the season, the Miami Dolphins at one point owned the San Francisco 49ers first-round draft pick. So I was rooting against them. They didn't look too hot starting off, but boy, am I glad we traded away that pick because, it's sure looking like it's going to be one of the last 2, it seems like. But no, I mean, but then on the flip side, you got to give some respect to the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the season Jalen Hurts has had, if it wasn't for such phenomenal quarterback play across the league, he's in the MVP conversation, but I don't think he's necessarily got there. Bringing in AJ Brown, I think, was probably one of the biggest moves any team had made this in the most recent offseason.
The biggest moves a team made this offseason, because we saw what happened with Tennessee Titans, putrid offense, and it turned Jalen Hurts into an MVP candidate.
Absolutely. And I mean, Devontae Smith has been balling in the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's looked almost just as good as AJ Brown in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. I mean, it's an offense that knows they know what they're good at, and they don't necessarily try to be anyone else. They know Jalen Hurts, he can throw the ball, but he's one of the best running quarterbacks in the NFL right now. They know they can use that running game with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. Obviously, the weapons at receiver. I mean, it is a good matchup for the San Francisco 49ers defense, and I'm excited to watch these 2 go at
it. Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What player or coach is under the most pressure? Because to me, I think Nick Sirianni is under the most pressure. Because I mean, you could say Philadelphia is better here, San Francisco is better here, but there's one area where the Eagles, to most experts, possess a major advantage, and that's with Jalen Hurts over Brock Purdy. So Nick Sirianni has got to win this game.
Yep.
Because if the Niners don't win this game, everybody is saying, well, you stole a 7th-round rookie quarterback. So what if he's Mr. Irrelevant and basically 8-0 meaningful 8-0 meaningful games? But if the Eagles don't win this game, especially in that town, they're not going to like Mr. Sirianni.
You're 100% right. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's been almost playing with house money over there in San Francisco this season. I mean, you got a 7th round, the last pick of the NFL draft has led you to a conference championship. I mean, if that's not playing with house money, I don't know what is. But then on the flip side, I mean, you're the Eagles. You were undefeated you were the last undefeated team for a long stretch there. You're the 1 seed going into the playoffs. You're playing a conference championship game at home in Philadelphia against a 7th round rookie quarterback. You leave the storyline there, and it's pitchforks and torches if Philadelphia loses this game. Obviously, there's more to it than that. You're playing against the best defense in the league. This team added Christian McCaffrey halfway through the season, which is not a bad little addition. But you're absolutely right. I mean, especially on paper, Nick Sirianni is the guy who's got to be the most nervous if things go south for their team. But it's conference championship football. Anything can happen. I want to know, Dylan, who is one player that people might not be talking about in this football game that you think could really kind of take the spotlight?
Lane Johnson.
There you go. I like it.
Because guess who the San Francisco 49ers have on their defensive line? Nick Bosa. Probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
One problem today, Lane Johnson might be the best tackle. I don't care if he's left tackle, right tackle. He may be the best tackle in football. And we saw last week this coming back from that abdominal injury where Lane Johnson made a huge difference. The Eagles looked like the Eagles team the first 2 months of the regular season. Like that Giant team, from the opening drive of that game, the Giants didn't have any prayer winning that game.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. And then you combo that with Jason Kelce. I mean, Jalen Hurts, obviously he's a phenomenal runner to the quarterback, but you put him behind an offensive line like that, and you got 5 or 6 seconds to throw the ball. I mean, that doesn't help your chances, or that doesn't hurt your chances as a quarterback either. So I love that pick. I think that's got to be. I mean, you talk about skill players versus skill players and quarterbacks versus quarterbacks, but you got to give the big guys, you got to give the guys in the trenches some credit. I mean, that has got to be one of the best matchups. Especially, I know that any former offensive defensive line, whether it's high school, college, professional, anyone who's been in those trenches, that they're looking forward to this football game, because with the likes of the defense that San Francisco has and that ridiculously just together offensive line that Philadelphia has, those big guys are going to be putting on a show today.
Yeah, Eagles led the NFL in sacks as a team with 70. Nick Bosa led the NFL in sacks. You've got great offensive lines, great defensive lines. It's more like an old school football game in 2023.
Absolutely. There's only 3 more football games left, Dylan. I got to know. We may as well just go. I don't know. You want to do a game pick for after each?
Save it at the end.
Save it for the end. All right. Perfect. Well, anything else NFC Championship wise you want to touch on?
Except the Philly cheesesteaks.
Nah, that'd be sure nice right about now, but.
Okay, well, we head from Philly cheesesteaks to barbecue, and you know what that means, right?
I sure do.
We have a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game between the Cincinnati Bengals and Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't know if you noticed, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but Joe Burrow and the Bengals are 3-0 against Mahomes the last 13 months.
Yeah,
Wait, did I just say that?
you sure did.
You sure I'm not making up that? Like, can you verify that?
Let me call my sources. Yep, nope, we're good to go there.
Okay. So, my first question to you, Alex. Can how can the Chiefs change the narrative of this story? Because I think when the Chiefs saw that game, they're like, "Oh no, not again." So how did the Chiefs change history against Burrow and the Bengals?
Easiest way for the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game is to keep the Bengals off the field. Sustained drives. If you can get Isaiah Pacheco moving the ball, if you can get some quick little passes to any of those wideouts, every play doesn't have to be a home run, because if you hit a home run every play, of course, I mean, you've got the opportunities, you've got deep threats, you've got Travis Kelce, but you're just giving the ball right back to Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense. If you can control the clock, if you can control the game, if you can get a run game going, the Bengals defense isn't, I mean, it's not the 49ers. You're not going up against the 49ers defense. It's, I mean, obviously the threat when it comes to Cincinnati is Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. I mean, those are the guys that you're scared of. On defense, if the Kansas City Chiefs, and you don't want Patrick Mahomes running around making ridiculous, like, play extending plays anyway with this injury he's coming off of, as well as Travis Kelce's banged up. You want to be able to run the football. You want to be able to control the clock. You want to be able to control the game, and you want to keep Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati Bengals offense off the field, because if you have the football, that means they don't. And you just that's the only way I see the Chiefs being able to win this game, is really just being able to have a proficient running game, being able to keep the Cincinnati Bengals defense honest, and really just trying to limit the opportunities Joe Burrow can take to beat you.
Well, I never thought you would say the Chiefs need to run the ball today, but maybe with Mahomes' ankle, it changes things. But Mahomes suffered a similar high ankle sprain week 1, I think 2019. Oddly enough, against the Jags. I don't know why Mahomes suffers high ankle sprains against the Jags. And then Mahomes looked like Mahomes the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm never going to count out Patrick Mahomes when it comes to playoff football, but I mean, as we've confirmed earlier on the show, I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals have a run going, and it's going to take something special, and it's going to take some, a really almost a Heisman moment almost from Patrick Mahomes today to really be able to, I think, turn it around, because they're dealing with injuries. The Cincinnati Bengals are hot. I mean, the Chiefs are hot too, but it's going to be a tough one. But I want to know from you, Dylan. Obviously, we've got high-powered offense versus high-powered offense in this game. Which defense are you most comfortable taking to get you to the Super Bowl today? Because obviously, I mean, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and we know all these names. But whenever you talk about the superstars from these football teams, there's not many defensive players that are coming out of your mouth. Which defensive unit do you think is best equipped to win this football game?
The Bengals, because I think Lou Lamoriello and the Bengals are just better than any team in the league. I mean, we saw, I think, in the 3 games between the Bengals and Chiefs, where Kansas City has scored 6 points in the 4th quarter. 6 points. Yeah. 6 points in the 4th quarter of those 3 games. Secondly, we've seen where Kansas City's offense has gone nuclear at times, where Tyreek Hill, when he was in Kansas City before swimming in Miami, and Travis Kelce have both gone off in big games. And unfortunately, my Jags couldn't get anywhere near Kelce last week. But we've seen what Cincinnati, but in particular, has been able to stop Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And today, Travis Kelce might get 10, 12 targets, but I don't know if he's going to go. I don't think he'll go anywhere like 14 for 98 and 2 touchdowns. If he gets 14 receptions today, the Kansas City Chiefs stand a good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. You take away Tyreek Hill, and obviously the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have shown they don't need Tyreek Hill to succeed, to be put in the places for success. But sure, wouldn't it be nice? I mean, imagine how much more confident the Chiefs would be going into this game with Tyreek Hill. I mean, Travis Kelce is one of the best players in the National Football League. I think he's somehow underrated. I think
The
just
best tight end in football be underrated.
because I don't think people quite realize the gap between Travis Kelce and the number 2 tight end. I mean, you talk about the best wide receivers in football. It's Tyreek Hill, it's Justin Jefferson. I mean, I think those are the top 2 guys, and it's pretty consensus. Obviously, there's other names that can give you a shout, but you talk about number 2 tight end in the league. I mean, Mark Andrews probably jumps out. I think George Kittle, especially maybe not this year, but as far as consistency throughout seasons, George Kittle has to be up there. It's
Hawkinson going forward.
Hawkinson, but yeah, these are all like guys that you're kind of suggesting. It's not. I mean, there's no locked in number 2, and Travis Kelce is so locked in as the number 1 tight end. I don't think people quite realize how big of a gap is, and I don't think people give enough appreciation to what that means. I mean, being so much better than the next best position player in the entire league is something that I think should go a little bit more. I think Travis Kelce should be in the MVP conversation every year, but unfortunately, the MVP trophy isn't an MVP trophy. It's a most important quarterback or best quarterback award. It's not even most valuable. I don't even think it's the trophy has gone so backwards, I think, but I digress. You're exactly right. If Travis Kelce banged up, if Patrick Mahomes banged up, if the 2 of them can keep their connection going strong, that is, I mean, it's the scariest part of that offense, and it's the thing that can beat you, and it's the thing that if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to try my absolute hardest to make sure that doesn't happen.
You mentioned wide receivers literally, and Alex, you forgot about somebody, but is Ja'Marr Chase the most talented receiver in football?
I mean, I don't know. After watching, it's so tough because you think about Ja'Marr Chase and you think about Tyreek Hill and you think about Justin Jefferson, and they all are so skilled at what they do. I mean, Justin Jefferson can do things that Ja'Marr Chase and Tyreek Hill can't do. Ja'Marr Chase can do things that Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson can't do. And obviously Tyreek Hill can do things that Justin Jefferson and Ja'Marr Chase can't do. It's a 3-headed monster at the top. Do I think he's the most skilled wide receiver in the NFL? I think I honestly have to give it to Justin Jefferson. I mean, some of the catches that man makes in the clutchest of moments. I mean, Ja'Marr Chase too. It's a 3-horse race at the top. They're so different players that I don't think I can necessarily hammer down and say that Ja'Marr Chase is the most talented receiver in the league. I think you might disagree with me there, it looks like.
But where was Justin Jefferson that wild card game against the Giants in the 3rd and 4th quarter of that wild card game against the Giants?
You're right. I mean, obviously, it's hard to say. I mean, Kirk Cousins versus Joe Burrow versus Tua. I mean, there's so many factors that go into it. I think Cincinnati has a better coaching staff than Minnesota does. I think, there's so many factors that it's hard for me to say. I mean, I think Justin Jefferson, I think Ja'Marr Chase is on the best team of the 3. I don't think it's not really close. So how much does that weigh in? I mean, yes, he is having the most success right now, but Ja'Marr Chase is built for success, man. I mean, he's playing with his college quarterback. He's got 2 other insanely talented wide receivers that play with him, a very functional tight end, a great running game. And like I said, I mean, he's got Joe Burrow. There's a lot of benefiting factors that help Ja'Marr Chase. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I'm just saying I think to say that he is without a doubt the most talented receiver, there's factors there that make me question it, but he's up there.
I will say this: I think Ja'Marr Chase could be Kansas City's worst nightmare because in the 3 games, Kansas City's not stopped Ja'Marr Chase. I mean, you remember what was it, week 17 last year when he caught, I think it was 11 passes for 260 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Won people a lot of money that week.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's hard to. I mean, it's hard to argue against. I mean, I know I just spent the last 5 minutes doing it, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They can't. Jamar Chase and the Cincinnati Bengals are still playing football, and Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill are at home sitting on their couch. So if that has anything to do with it, I mean, you might be. You're probably right there. But of course, I mean, he's the number one receiver for one of the top two quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I mean, it's going to be a show. It's going to be a show, and I can't wait to watch it. But I think it's time to move on to a little segment that we haven't done in a while. A little bit of fun here. Dylan is one of the smartest people I know, especially when it comes to the National Football League. And he tasked me with trying to find a trivia question that I could stump him in regards to Conference Championship weekend. I don't have faith that I got a question that I believe could stump him. I actually got two just in case to save face a little bit. You probably know it, Dylan, but I'm going to ask you my first one anyway. There's one team in the National Football League history, you're going to get this right away, that have won both the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game. Who is that team? And because I think you're going to get it, what year?
Wait a minute. Could you repeat the question?
There is one team in NFL history who has won an NFC Championship game and an AFC Championship game. Who is that team? I thought you were going to jump all over those.
NFC can't beat the Seahawks. Can't beat the Seahawks.
Why not?
Because they didn't win an AFC title. They played and won against the Raiders back in like '83, I think it was.
Oh, I asked the question wrong. Appeared in both the NFC Championship game and AFC Championship game.
Oops.
My fault there. So it is the Seahawks. And what year did you say that was?
83, and then 2005, and then the Legion of Boom teams.
You're absolutely 100% right, Dylan. I knew you would be. That was my fault. I asked the question wrong, but you nailed it anyway. You even got the answer right when I asked it wrong. How about that? Do you want my backup or?
Yes. Yes.
All right. You're probably going to get this. This was actually probably easier. Let me rephrase it to make it a little tougher. There were two teams. One of these two teams had appeared in the NFC Championship game every year for 14 years straight, -1. Who were the teams? So for 14 years, one of these two teams appeared in the NFC Championship game every year, except for one season when they didn't in the middle.
I'm sure the San Francisco 49ers would be one of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. What years do they encompass?
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, try and think about the years that you think they would have been on that run and what other NFC teams were pretty good.
Cowboys?
Not quite. You're close. These two teams also played.
Packers?
No, they also played against each other at one point during that run. In a year that you just mentioned.
Oh, gosh.
The years are 81 to 94.
Okay. Washington.
There it is. Yep. The Washington Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call them, or the San Francisco 49ers appeared in the NFC Championship game every year from 1981 to 1994, except in what year? That should be easy.
Wait, hold on. 85.
No.
Because I think the Rams played the Bears in that NFC title game.
You are right. You are correct, sir.
Because the Bears whooped up on Eric Dickerson that afternoon on Soldier Field.
Yep.
How do I know that endless information?
I mean, you're a genius. I saw it coming. You had to work it through there for a little bit, but you definitely got it. So congratulations, Dylan. You win the Big D trivia. I don't have a trophy for you, but
I don't need a participation trophy. Okay, Alex. So we do our friendly DK head-to-head showdown every week. So this is the last classic slate of the NFL season. So who are you using against me?
Oh, Dylan, I like my lineup this week. I think I have something good coming for you. Let me bring it up just to make sure I got everyone accounted for. At quarterback, starting at quarterback. No, Joe Burrow. I think as we mentioned earlier, with Jamar Chase playing against the Kansas City Chiefs as well as he does, he was one of the cheaper options on the quarterback slate. I think once I saw Joe Burrow was the third quarterback on the slate, easy money. $6,800. Lock me up, Joe Burrow as my quarterback. My running backs had to pick the two best in the game, Christian McCaffrey and Joe Mixon. McCaffrey had an injury designation earlier through the week, but I had a feeling that would not be too big of a factor. I think every other running back on the slate, I almost went McKinnon, which I've done in multiple weeks throughout the playoffs, but he's let me down a little bit. So McCaffrey and Mixon locked it in. I wasn't able to get Jamar Chase, so I went with the next best option, T. Higgins, for $5,400. I think is a steal. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to put a lot of focus on Jamar Chase today, and T. Higgins is going to get his looks. Wide receiver as well, Devontae Smith. Look at his numbers in most recent weeks. I mean, against the Giants, 18 fantasy points. Against the Giants, 14 fantasy points. Against the Saints, 23.5, 34.3, 20.6, 17.4, 24.2. It's a slim reaper. Lock it in. Juwan Jennings had to take a cut, had to take a hit. 3.3 or 3,300. I wanted some star power. I had to take a hit somewhere. So Juwan Jennings, who knows? He's got a couple catches. We'll see what he can do. Tight end Travis Kelce went for the superstar. I mentioned it. There's no number 2 tight end that's anywhere close. Give me Travis Kelce. In my flex, I needed to go cheap again. Hayden Hurst for $3,000. I'm going the dual tight end route on you. I've done it before and it paid off for me. I think for $30,000, Hayden Hurst is probably the best value at that money, at that price point. And then the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I think that's the lineup to knock you off, Dylan.
I went Burrow for my quarterback, CMC, Mixon. I did make a couple of different deviations from you. I am using Jamar Chase.
Okay.
Not just because it's his second game, but because I think it's got a better chance of having more points because he's got a great quarterback in Joe Burrow and a great quarterback in Pat Mahomes. I am also using Deebo Samuel because this is Deebo's time.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% Elijah Mitchell plays tonight, so. And I am using T. Higgins because I do remember what happened in last year's AFC Championship game and what happened in Week 13 when T. Higgins can go bananas.
Yeah.
Now, unlike you, I am not using Travis Kelce, and I am scared to death of it. Because I remember what happened last week, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm
I had to get him in my team.
I'm using Dallas Goedert.
All right.
By then, 4,100. I think it's actually decent matchup for Philadelphia's pass offense against San Francisco. Teams don't run it on the 9, so I think it'll be a lot of Jalen Hurts Hurts. Hopefully, all the passes go to Goddard and not AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. And I also like Hayden Hurts. The 3K wide receivers this week are absolute garbage. And I do think with this 2-game slate, double tight end walk, and for defense, I've got the Bengals.
All right. We got a lot of similarities there. It's bound to happen with only 2 football games going on today. But
Yeah, the big decision was which 2 out of McCaffrey, Chase, and Kelsey to use.
yeah,
You Kelsey, I went Chase.
exactly. We will see how it turns out. I think I beat you last week, so I'm
Don't
ready.
remind me.
I'm ready to take the crown going into Super Bowl Sunday or flag football festivities, whatever we call it, whatever we're doing next week. But other than that, I think there's only one last thing to do, Dylan.
Yeah. Who is ultimately going to the Super Bowl in Glendale?
For me, Cincinnati Bengals are making another appearance, and they will be taking on the San Francisco 49ers. I think defense wins championships. I think as good as the Philadelphia Eagles are, I think Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes. He's been shown to not make mistakes. He has Christian McCaffrey in his back pocket. He has George Kittle. He has Deebo Samuel. I like the San Francisco 49ers in a great football game, and I like the Cincinnati Bengals in a great football game. 2 great games today, and that's your Super Bowl. What about you doing?
Before the playoffs, I picked the 49ers, but after seeing what the Eagles did last weekend, it may have been against Andrew Jones. I think it will be fly, Eagles, fly.
All right. We got some differences there. I love to see it.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes are going to be 0-4 against Burrow and the Bengals. I can't believe I'm saying it. I think the Bengals are going to win.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's a hard team to bet against at this point.
Yeah, I don't care if the Bengals protect Joe Burrow. I think I don't see how Kansas City wins this game.
Yeah.
Unless
exactly.
Mahomes throws for like 9 million yards again.
Which, knowing him, you can't necessarily rule that out of the equation, but
No.
we would need some Mahomes magic for sure today. Who knows? Will we see it? Mahomes magic. I mean, the Burrow Jamar Chase connection. The Brock star taking on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I mean, it's going to be a fun day of football, Dylan. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to talk about it with you next week. And we got one more day of football until Super Bowl Sunday. One more slate of football until Super Bowl Sunday. It's what you pay the big bucks for, and I'm ready to watch it. I can't wait to see it. And here we are. Come down to this.